My name is Rhapsody, his name is sneakyteak, and welcome back to the ladder streak for another week. How's it going, bud?
It's going awesome, and I'm wondering, I think that people have been starting to produce almost like bingo or alternate streaks. There was the several-week streak of killing the heart with thorns, right? And we've been on now a several-week streak of coincidentally playing your favorite character.
So we have. Unfortunately, I have to say, this is the week that streak breaks. Hopefully that's the only streak that gets broken this week, but I'd really prefer to be playing the Watcher ominous. Right now. I've had so many good Watcher-ons recently. My God, Watcher.
Watcher is great. She's so great, and she feels and plays so differently, and on a meta level, I am just so pleased to see the kind of community and player base of Slay the Spire finally embrace this character. Because when Watcher first released, it was a mixed bag. There were a lot of people that really loved Watcher, and there were people that said that she was too hard, too easy, too different, too puzzly, too this, too that. And I feel like we're finally over that hump. Most people I talk to now are like, yeah, she's really strong and she has a unique playstyle. And that's really nice to read.
I'm extremely glad to hear that. I don't necessarily have a finger on the pulse, so the entire way through, my experience was just mapping my own experience and kind of assuming other people felt that. And my experience the entire time was, wow, this is really interesting. Because to me, it was the character ultimately that rewarded me for all of the things I had to learn to do the A20s and the other characters, but more. As well as obviously extra unique complications, but it rewarded the skills that I had built up very heavily. Because the character is very high skill ceiling. Although not necessarily as high skill ceiling as the defect.
Ceiling is defect. Yeah. So today it's orb juggling.
So it is, but I do want to very quickly start out by saying, yes, we did install some mods. None of the mods are gameplay changing. Save one little wrinkle we will mention later.
Asterisk.
Yes.
It doesn't apply today, so we're safe.
It totally should not be relevant in most situations, and it's something that probably should be in the base game. Anyway, it's not relevant at the moment, but a lot of people did ask for the mod list. I'm going to have the mod list linked in the description down below. But also, just at the very start, base mod STS lib so that we can run the rest of them. We have always whale set on so that we no longer start with the options of, do you want to kill the first 3 for free or get some max HP? Colored map, obviously. Minty Spire, which is the quality of life compilation, where we've got the configs turned in this way, just so that we have a little bit more visual tell on the screen. Relic stats, so we have a little bit more information about what the relics are doing for us, and then everything is the same, but you backflip on backflip by Reyna.
Which does what it says on the tin.
Yeah, out of all of those, including base mod, that is the most important mod. So make sure you get that one first if you're going to be running this mod list.
That one's key. Also, I've just been sitting here thinking about how casual you said, I just played the character and assumed that everyone else in the world had the same experience that I did. That is a level of cosmic truth that I wish that I could embrace as well. Imagine the universe and you are at the center.
I mean, that was my experience with the character at the time, especially because it had just come out, and then I was either recording it or streaming it for 6 to 8 hours every day, as well as doing my other work. So it was all I knew was my opinion of the character.
You were living in a content microverse, which was purely your own, but just shared outward and expanding and accelerating.
And I think also, like, my opinion of the character helped color some of the opinions of the character, opinions of the people who were seeing the character the first time through my content. And it ended up becoming kind of like a cycle. It would feed back into me. Like, I would do something good as the character, and I would say, hey, there's this really cool thing about the character, and I'm utilizing it in this cool way. And the audience would then feed it back into me by saying, yeah, that's really cool. This character is really cool. And I'm like, oh, it is.
Do you think YouTube is the ultimate power fantasy?
Ooh, in what fashion?
Well, I mean, that's what you just described to me. Being such a powerful force that you're that it sent ripples out into the universe, which then reverberated back to you, and were greatly empowered.
Oh, 100%.
This is pure earth shatterer kind of situation right here.
Yes, we are the rulers of our own little fiefdoms.
That's awesome. I know what I'm missing out on.
What we're not going to be missing out on is a slime boss at the very top.
Pumpkin spice. Ooh, look at that color. It's just how I remember it.
I really like these colors. I don't think they're kind of like necessarily too intrusive, but
Yeah.
apparently not 100% agreement on that one. Hey, would you like
That's the thing about
rare
colors. I like, okay, so I like 3 things here. Actually, I think these are very strong options. I think that common relic, this is one of those moments where I wish we could easily open a compendium to look at common and rare relics. But one thing that's a common, I bring it up all the time, so I don't need to rehash this, but common does not mean weak in Slay the Spire. Common does not mean weak in Slay the Spire. Some of the strongest relics in the game are in the common pool, and you can get one for free. So it's always a pretty strong option. But the rare relics have some of the best damage mitigation relics in the game. And so certainly powerful.
I'd like to add one thing to that, which is that the rare relics, more often than common relics, can help define the build, can help define the direction of the deck. For instance,
that's true.
Shuriken, Kunai obviously want you to go probably not super heavy into just orbs or power stacking, all those kinds of things. Or especially like Mummified Hand is like, okay, now power stacking is a lot easier for me to do. I can take those more happily.
Shuriken and Kunai are uncommon.
Ah, okay, my bad.
No, but I think you're right, though. I think that like a really good example is Unceasing Top, actually. So I totally agree with you here. Just those 2 examples where they feel crazy, right?
Let's mitigate some damage.
Okay, that opens up every elite fight in Act 1.
Yes.
I find. And it's really friggin' good for Slime Boss, because you have more turns to set up.
If we want to take 3 elites, we have to take an early shot. Do we want to take a question mark for the possibility of getting a curse and money beforehand? This is a no-rest 3 elite combat if we're going for maximum elites.
I don't know. Can you repeat what you said? My brain like fully shut down.
So if we want to go for 3 full elites, the only paths that include that start here, which means that, we have to go to an early shop. So we either have to choose to go to a question mark before it to get possibly a curse and some money, or see another card look before we go for a pretty
Is there a
difficult
reasonable 2 elite path?
There... Ooh.
Like with fires?
Not really, actually. The flames on this map are very sparse. There are only 4 of them. 3 of them mutually exclusive.
Wow. This is a very strange Act 1 then. So basically, I think this is a way to conceptualize, right? If we're going to push elites, then we need to not only get very strong, because we're not going to get to rest, but we also want to pick cards that are not super upgrade hungry, because we're going to have a lot of upgrade debt. Unless we happen to solve some of that with question marks, which is possible. I mean, we're definitely going to the shop. I think that seems obvious, unless we wanted to go left, far left, and then take 2 elites after 1 fire, including the possible empowered.
It is worth noting, at least at every point, we have the ability to bail out.
True. I like this shop. I like fight, and I do like question mark. Because I think we want to be getting power outside of just cards, since we're going to be so hungry for upgrades.
Yeah, I like it too.
Also, quick awkward mic check, but I'm not like crazy loud, right?
No.
Okay, cool.
No, certainly not on my side. Why? New mic settings?
No, they're the same, but I just became more engaged with the microphone.
Ooh.
Leaned forward.
I mean...
Darkness? Chaos? Ball Lightning.
Ball Lightning is easy if we just want to go for damage for elites. But also, I do like Darkness and I do like Chaos, actually, like a lot.
I do too. I think that Chaos is in my opinion, if I had to rate these for how likely I were to take them, it would be the bottom, just because of how upgrade hungry it is.
Yes.
And it certainly gets a lot better when you've already got some orb empowerment. We don't have that yet. Darkness and Ball Lightning can do things on their own. Darkness likes an upgrade, but it doesn't need one. I think the Fossilized Helix makes Darkness better than usual. But then we still need to be able to evoke. So, and we have a Gambler's Brew?
We do, yes.
I can go either way here, Raps. I think we can make either one work. I really do.
Slime Boss at the very end. Does that push us in one direction over the other?
Well, I will say that Darkness plus Fossilized Helix wins the Slime Boss fight. As long as we have enough orb generation by that point to push the Darkness up to the front, then we just get a single evocation and the fight's done.
Oh!
Nice. 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 Those are good upgrades, actually. Damage upgrades are good upgrades for us.
Yeah, you absolutely love to see it. I am not seeing the orb generation here that I was necessarily hoping for. I kind of just want to take that auto shields and run.
Auto shields. I like that pick. That's spicy.
You're not a fan of the auto shields typically?
No. I actually think it gets underpicked because of how strong it is in the early game. I think that Fossilized Helix makes it worse because we're already very good at blocking in fights, and then auto shields falls off once you do like frost stuff. But I think that if we took, I was looking at Melter, but I love the auto shields pick here too if we're gonna take a lot of fights.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's do it.
Perfect. Let's go for it. This is going to be a good run. I can already feel it in my bones. You know what? This is going to be the run that we cast Meteor Strike. I don't know if we've even cast a single Meteor Strike as the defect yet.
Is that true? Not even once?
I don't believe so.
You said as the defect. Did we cast Meteor Strike as Watcher or something with Foreign Influence? Because that's one of my favorite things.
It is theoretically possible. Actually, that is a point that we should probably bring up at this point, the Foreign Influence pull, because that is the gameplay change, the small asterisk added to no gameplay changes by our quality of life mods. And that is installing base mod, which is used to run the other mods that we are running at the moment, does change one thing about the base game in that if you have any character, by base, they will have an invisible orb slot.
Yeah.
So usually, if you have Prismatic Shard or you have somehow other access to a defect card, like Note for yourself, giving you Ball Lightning or something like that, then it will give you an orb slot as any other character. But Foreign Influence and other things that generate random cards won't give that to you.
But with base mod, they will. Oh my gosh.
I feel a little bit worse about the auto shields right now, but I want it bad.
I think we just take it. So I will say that for Fossilized Helix start, this deck is rapidly catapulting towards, I can't believe I'm about to say this, the 45 card deck sneakyteak. I think it's catapulting towards too many card picks. One of the strong things about Fossilized Helix is that you can afford to take less cards and be more aggressive with your damage output. So definitely looking to convert that darkness into kills is something we want to do. I think like multicast is one of the best picks in the game right now.
Yes, I'd be extremely excited to see it. Hey, would we consider a oh god, what's the name of the card? It upgrades to 0 cost, it evokes your orb and
Vision.
Yes.
I always consider a vision. Yes. Absolutely.
No, oh, sorry. No, I mean, not fission. It evokes your orb, but rechannels the same orb.
Oh, recursion.
Yes.
Recursion. I like this. Oh my gosh.
Well, we have 3 different orb types at the moment.
We sure do. We should take this compile driver. I agree. Sunder really wants to be upgraded. Hologram is great, but we don't want to keep taking kind of side grade cards that don't push. Recursion is so tricky, man. I think that I would consider it here for sure. I think if it were upgraded. Ooh, nice. Oh, we're in there. We've done it. I don't know. What do you think? Would you take it? Oh my gosh, full block. Nice.
Honestly, I am already looking at the eventuality that we don't really care about lightning anymore. We are a dark and frost kind of deck, and just want to manage that
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Because recursing frost orbs feels incredible, right? And recursing dark orb is obviously scaling damage.
I think part of this has probably got to be decided by whether or not we find other orb support in focus and such.
Sure.
Settle for 60
I think we just
here?
do the 60. I think the 60 is pretty strong. Now we just have to find the damage on the way out.
Yeah,
we've got 1 upgraded strike.
We've got a bunch of turns to find it, thankfully.
GG.
GG.
0 damage. This frozen egg is gonna have a defragment beside it, and we're gonna have direction. There's that unupgraded recursion if you think it's time.
It's upgrade debt, and we can't put the cart before the horse in terms of the ability to get the powers that we're looking for. Do we want another compile driver? We do have like defensive kit out the wazoo at the moment.
We should take it. I think this compile driver is gonna be. I'm changing my mind. I'm changing my mind about what we're doing. Instead of picking less cards, we're picking more compile drivers and holograms, and then we're picking more cards.
Okay. I could get on board.
Skims, actually. If that skim weren't alongside a glacier, I'm all on board. This will demand that we find energy, though, which is luckily something we want anyway.
No matter what, we're
Kinda
taking
weird turn,
6 this turn.
Yeah, how do we manage this? Is there like... Is it just Glacier Strike Plus and push one of them down? Like push the 13 life one or the 12 life one?
We take the same amount. I mean, the benefit of Glacier is obviously just keeping the orb slots with the Frost.
Yeah, I think it reduces our future turn damage if we can kill one quickly. That's the question.
Okay. And then we're going to be weakened next turn, so we should probably strike the 13 so that a single strike kills.
4, yeah. That sounds good. I like that. Oh, that one would have died. Curious.
Such a shame. But
no, you can't plan for that. You just can't.
Yeah, my plan, as I've mentioned prior with the lightning orbs, has always been assume it will hit the worst possible target.
Yeah. So when you've got 2 targets, I actually think you can math it and do some expected damage. And that's what I like to do is like, okay, with 2 targets or with 3 targets, I've got a 50% chance that it hits this one target. So if I play this way, I will expect 50% of their damage. If they're doing 10, then I'm going to treat that as 5 damage. And then I math it out that way. And, this is in aggregate across many, many runs. This is the way to manage that. But sometimes you just have to do damage mitigation on the turn of, right?
Yep. See, good way of explaining that. All right.
Was it? It felt a little. I was not sure as I was saying that if that was.
No, like
concise enough to capture the point.
These kinds of things help you make the decision rather than help you make. So, if I play skittish in 100% of circumstances, but it would have worked out 50% of the time, you are talking about a circumstance with 2 targets, right?
Right.
It is possible that my playing skittish there may be what ends up causing me to lose. So some percentage of that time, I should have possibly played bold. And using these kinds of like, this is the breadth of experience that I have with this, so I can simplify it down to this value on average. Like, for instance, like this card costs 0.5 mana. Like that's not like an actual cost that it has.
Right.
It's not actually going to result in me taking 5 damage. It's either going to be 0 or 10, but it does help me realize how effective it is comparison to other things that I could have otherwise done.
Okay, I'm glad that resonates because I actually think that kind of mathematical thinking, like on average thinking, is at its most important on defect. This is the class that benefits from it the most.
I'm down for a skip here. I think we've already got like a lot of draw support in this deck. A lot of defensive support.
Do you ever take the 1 cold snap, or
I wouldn't
the
be
one
sad
skim?
about it, because it would give me a second way to get Frost in here before the compile drivers for a little bit of extra draw. I'm not super enthusiastic about it, to be entirely honest, because I kind of want to increase the density of powers in the deck, and everything else I include is not one of them.
I do wonder, genuinely, I'm feeling very divergent thinking today, so you've got to check me. You're going to have to check me all night. just forewarning. I'm looking at this skim, and I'm wondering, it is too early, but we have 1 darkness and 1 dual cast. If ever there were a deck that had 16 cards, but really 2, it's this one. Right? We've got like 1 plan for how we're going to do damage, which means spending 2 or 3 energy to get to that plan actually might make sense. This may be the one situation to where putting a skim in is good. Now, we do have to fight like a gremlin knob. So if we think that we can't win that with power or with potions, then the skim is bad.
I agree.
Skim has one other role too, which is slime boss. Sorry to interrupt.
No. Sure. What's the role it's playing in the slime boss specifically?
Oh, Slime Boss is a fight that dilutes your deck, so draw becomes more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I take draw a lot more aggressively when Slime Boss is the boss for sure.
Yeah, especially because you don't want to like whiff on the first 2 turns of like drawing all of your defense and stuff like that, but obviously on the later turns of the slimes. I agree that dual casts Darkness is what we do at the moment, but if we are going to be bloating the deck, is it going to be what we do for long? Is it going to be a reliable way to do what we do for long?
Yeah.
Because especially also, if we don't see power support for this becomes way harder to do.
Yeah, but that all of a sudden that becomes an existential question of what are the likely ways that we scale up power, and do they ever require so much conciseness and efficiency that we can't draw for them?
You know what?
I don't know.
We are playing the class that has the easiest, most direct, not easiest to manage, but easiest, most direct way of gaining draw and
energy.
Gaining energy. So I'm going to take this kind of speculative for a turbo.
It's super speculative. Yes. Yeah. Now you're building my dream deck.
Now you... what would be like, now you're thinking with portals, but teak?
I don't know. Now you're thinking with a bunch of friggin' cards. Yeah.
Want a Darkness Glacier just set up for later turns?
I like that. I like that quite a lot. I appreciate you giving me all the time to investigate that option there, because Defect is so hard, and it's so hard that I don't always really have a concise way to explain why it is that my gut is rumbling, but like my gut was starting to rumble a lot with this run. And so I just had this strong sense that there was something that we needed to be careful about, but I couldn't really describe what it was.
It's all good. I think we're still in the point where I'll just play out the rest of these. I also should have, in retrospect, I definitely should have defended on the previous turn, so that the big hit would have gone against the small thing.
Or use the block potion there, I guess, so that we save our buffer for the next turn. That would be clever.
Yes. Oh, speaking of buffer.
But it's okay, because we'll just get a buffer plus. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think you click that card.
Like definitely, but also I am kind of looking at that streamline like, oh, we are missing a little bit of like consistent damage, and we got a lot of draw.
Yeah. So this deck is going to be awkward in Act 2 unless we fix it soon. Oh, I love Orichalcum, man. I really do.
How relevant is it in our deck?
So here's why it's relevant. Orichalcum plays very, very nicely with Frost. We're early enough in this act that Orichalcum will frequently result in enough block to full block. Even with the buffer, then we just preserve our buffer for another turn, right? I just take it for sure.
Should we take an Emerald Elite or a non-Emerald Elite, though? So we just had Gremlin Knob. It should... I don't know if I'm most worried about Sentinels, because that is just
Sentries.
like a...
Yeah, they're the scariest. No, they are the scariest.
The buffer makes the Lagavulin a like joke.
Lagavulin, even plus max HP, Lagavulin feels great right now. Power Pot. I mean, we could split the difference and go left, and depending on what we find and how we're doing, either keep going left or hit the Empowered Elite. We can certainly... Orichalcum helps us with sentries a lot too, doesn't it?
Yes.
A lot. In fact, we can get to the point to where they can't hurt us with just a couple Frost.
My big concern is strength sentries.
Yeah, that's true. Then we would have to either go full on Frost or take 2 damage every turn. We have to kill 1. We have a power potion.
I think we should take
this Empowered Elite.
We can do it. Yeah.
I think we can do it. This is one of those times to where we actually have a deck which I think is very, very strong right now.
I just denied myself a draw there for fun.
Nah, we won.
So yeah, is this deck going to tail down because of the auto shields getting worse as we...
It's the darkness. It's the darkness. Darkness has an awkward strength pattern to where it would like destroy your Act 1, but then feel awkward in Act 2, and then sometimes suddenly be really strong again in Act 3, but then be awkward for specific fights and for the heart. And so I think we have to find... We need like a couple core attacks to deal with. Oh, and it is strength. Wow.
It's fine.
Kinda crazy.
We got the electrodynamics.
Yeah. Nice.
I'm gonna
nice.
dual cast, hologram dual cast right here.
Love it. That is an incredible turn 1.
Oh god, thank heck. This would have just been the worst.
That is obscene. Oh my
I'm
gosh.
so glad that we like accounted for very specifically this.
Yep.
Oh, how much glacier is too much glacier? we can't super cycle a bunch of orbs if we're using darkness as our damage pattern. Like, we need to find a secondary way to deal damage if we're like gonna consider it.
So, okay, so proposal.
Yes.
We click the glacier, we go to the store, we remove a defend, and we buy just like the power and any damage. We've got really strong potions. I think we already beat Slime Boss. This is Sentries again. I think
they're not upgraded. We have Orichalcum.
I think we can do this, yeah. I think we should do this.
Okay.
The key is getting 1 down and getting 2 frost up, and then we are literally invincible.
Right. I think we can do that.
Are we going to end up having to use any potions to do that, or are we just going to be fine?
I think it is possible. Let's just see what happens on this turn. So Glacier is 11 block by itself, then defend. Okay, so we would be popping the buffer this turn.
Yeah, but that's all good because then we've got the full block set up for the single, and the dark always goes to that front line if we zap, which I think we do. Because if we zap here, they've taken 12, and then we only need to do another 9 to them.
I was going to leave it in the deck for the dual cast. Use the strike here to try and set it up so it's 18. So it.
Yeah. Oh, that works. Nice. I like that. Full block every turn. We could literally press E once we do that dual cast. Might as well buffer 2 though, just to really flex.
Yeah. And then defend just to ruin the.
That's right.
Perfect. All right, we got this.
GG. Yeah. The Orichalcum just, I mean, Sentry seeks to exist, right? Are we gonna get up a single zap here and just?
That may be our win strat. Just flex on him. Wait for, what, 11 turns here?
You will never come into this establishment again.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, how dare.
I just really hope that this is Mummified Hand and we're about to go on a creative AI journey.
Oh, yes. That is just candy. That is video game candy.
It'd be so perfect.
A moment
for it
of
as
silence.
Well. We've got so much draw in the deck already.
True.
We've got Fossilized Helix. We've got higher max HP. We've got Orichalcum to defend us on turns. We do nothing else. It's so perfect for it.
So I just want to emphasize for viewers here a dynamic, which is important, which is one of us is a solid core, very accomplished and competent broadcaster. And the other one, whose name rhymes with Leaky Freak, was totally trying to see how awkward of a silence we could have while we pressed E 11 times. Luckily,
I didn't
Rhapsody...
pick up on that, but I will tell you, had I picked up on that, I would have played into it.
No, I just appreciate you were giving all this like really thoughtful thoughts about what we were going to do with the build, and I was like, yes, press E 11 times. Click the button.
I am
sweet child.
I am very very prone to trying to implement jokes like that, to break the format, to keep it interesting for myself as well.
It's subversion of expectations, like all comedy.
Anyone who saw, just under 1,000 episodes of Slay the Spire will be able to tell you exactly that kind of thing. So, boot sequence. I kind of want it to protect the Fossilized Helix in the first turn. It is not necessarily huge because of the Orichalcum as well, though.
I feel we're going too far on block with a buffer plus 2 glaciers.
Okay.
But what about the recursion?
No, defragment, turbo. Oh, runic capacitor!
Wait. Oh, God. It was so close. We should take that. That's incredible. Yeah. I got so scared.
No, it's cool. We can buy them all. Oh, my God.
Oh, man. GG, dude. That is a huge pick. Look at our relic bar right now.
Just
holy
stacked.
Mackerel.
Thank you.
How many floors did Mob Bank get?
It gave us 24 gold, but that was just enough to get all 3.
It was perfect. That's good enough for me. That's all I
Oh
needed.
my god. Okay. I mean, we're not
Yeah.
getting Darkness and Dual Cast back for a while, and we're not going to evoke it. So I think we just Dual Cast, Zap, Hologram, the Dual Cast, play the Dual Cast again, strike.
We could even, yeah, I like that. We're not gonna have much trouble here, I don't think.
Wait, hang on. 16 takes you down to 40. It's above the split value. We're still fine.
Nice.
Good.
Nice. Oh man, this is a solid setup. And now with the defrag, you know, just as an example of forecast, right? With the single defrag and 6 orb slots, all of our frost passively blocking for 4, which means we've got 24 block from frost, another 6 from orichalcum. We've got 30 passive block without finding any more cards, right? Which is already getting pretty close to consistently outblocking the Act 3 bosses. And that's a really big deal.
We have so many extra orb slots.
Yeah.
We're lacking damage. I think it's Storm.
I like it. I like it particularly because I think of Storm as front-loaded damage, and it can end up being hundreds of front-loaded damage, but it'll be enough to help us with hallways, which is where we struggle right now. I love the turbo upgrade.
Most out of all these.
I think it's incredible.
Oh, this one's
just spicy. Did you consider the blizzard there, by the way? Because I actually think that blizzard was not bad.
Really? I've mentioned before the way that I approached back when Defect came out, the way that I was still approaching Slay the Spire at that time was find a card. If it's interesting enough, try and build a deck that just is built around utilizing exclusively that card to give you a little bit of a sense of the value of that card. I now understand that's not necessarily how you really get a sense of the value of cards, but at the very least, it did give me some familiarity playing them and got me to think about them more commonly.
Sure.
But Blizzard was so hard to get to work as anything. I think I had like a very negative experience with it that colored my perception.
So I think that this is 90% of players' experience, and it's the reason why it gets such a bad rap. But for fear of asserting myself as the, grand poobah of knowing how to play the game here, I think that that's a misrepresentation of what Blizzard is actually good at. I think that what Blizzard is actually good at is making you better at killing daggers in the Reptomancer fight or Gremlin minions with a deck which is very good at blocking, but just a little slow at managing particularly AoE. If you play Blizzard and it does 12 AoE damage, that is a really efficient one-cost attack. And that's really all you need, right? If you can play Blizzard and do 100 damage, that's crazy, but you don't need it to do that. There's plenty of other ways to scale up damage for Defect. I like it for decks like this, to where you're like, this deck is pretty good at blocking, and we've got some good single-target scaling damage, but like, how are we going to deal with Gremlin Leader?
I want to see it.
Totally.
I did not linger on the Blizzard long enough. We do have 2 generations of 2 Frost Orbs in the deck at the moment, as well as the ability to recurse one of them with the, not recursion, but with a hologram to play it again. I would like to see it. If we see another opportunity to pick it up, should we?
Maybe.
Obviously, depends on what it's against.
With a Storm Plus in the deck and a Frozen Egg, depending on what's offered to us from this boss, if we get offered an Electrodynamics, we might just take that, and that solves the same problem. And in a way which is much more scalable. So it's just going to depend on what we get offered, right? But I can totally imagine a world where we get offered another Blizzard and we take it. Yeah, absolutely.
I am going to put my vote in here for Fission. It's just, we're going to generate a bunch of orbs at the very start of combat, and then we're going to use that to fund our ability to go through the rest of our deck and get the rest of our powers out. Or
it's a lot of tempo.
I think there will be Fission. I want Creative AI, though.
None of those things.
it's just Seek, though.
I think so, although I will say that Frozen Egg improves I took an Amplify recently on an Ascension 20 run as kind of a perspective pick, and it ended up winning. Like, it ended up being really strong. But Amplify really does require energy. It plays really nicely with the card draw that we have. We have the turbo.
And a
But
hologram.
Seek kind of does a similar thing. Because what Amplify says is increase the density of being able to play powers. And Seek says increase the density of being able to find and play whatever you need.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to agree that this is just Seek, but that Amplify is worth at least talking about.
It's also worth noting that the Seek makes a future Amplify a lot easier to take. Because if you have Seek in the hand as Amplify or with a power, you can Seek the other one. Or when it's upgraded, Seek both.
Oh my gosh, Seek Plus into Seek Plus into Seek Plus is the dream.
So
that's how you turn one win every fight in the game, basically. Yeah. Hey, Thunderstrike, do you ever pick it here?
So if we had taken Ball Lightning earlier, or if maybe we'd seen more powers so far, maybe.
So here's a funny consideration. I still think this is Seek. I'm not just throwing. Sometimes I feel like I say things and what I'm really doing is basically just making the decision more difficult. I think that of these cards, the card which most improves our power and chances in the Act 2 boss fight is actually Thunderstrike. Because with the deck that we have right now, we're going to live long enough to play it all out. And with the Storm, we expect to generate on the order of 7 or 8 lightning, which turns this into a 50+ damage card, which is enough to feel confident in being able to close down any of the 3 fights. I still don't think it's correct, but I do think that's worth noting. Is
it too early for us to think about how would we deal with those fights?
No, I don't think that it is. And part of the reason I'm comfortable with Seek is that I think Seek is immediately better for hallway fights and elites, and we have a frozen egg. And so we've got this really clear plan for how it is that we want to get stronger. And it should be enough that we don't have to worry about Thunderstrike. Powers are specifically pretty good at doing exactly what I just said, which is getting strong enough to beat bosses, right?
Yep.
So I think it's still Seek, but I do think there's a world where you look at this deck and you're like, I just want to lock down the Act 2 boss, and you just take Thunderstrike, and that's done.
I'm thinking about the Act 2 boss, and what's coming to my mind very clearly is in the fights that Thunderstrike is the strongest, we have other things we can do to mitigate those strong things. Like my read of it is that Collector's not a problem for us, right? We have 6 orb slots, we have 2 glaciers, and we have a defragment. We can kind of just stand there and watch it do no damage for a while. We will need to find
it doesn't scale enough.
Just a card, basically, to help us with it, to deal damage outside of having a bunch of lightning orbs out, because we're probably going to want frost out. The Guardian, it feels like if we just save buffer for the right turns, we're fine.
Yeah.
And then Champ, more
Darkness,
little bit
Frost.
more of a problem. But yeah, Darkness, Frost, and saving the buffers for the Rampage turns.
Yeah, you're right. This deck doesn't need a Thunderstrike to beat those bosses. Nice analysis.
Whoa, though. With Runic Capacitor, though, and a Defragment in the deck, though.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Now I super wish that we had Found Fission, because I think that makes that pick even better. Like, having 2 Glaciers in the deck makes it a little awkward. Dual cast is nice. Do you ever take do you ever take Empty Cage here? Just
give
dunk
me a
2
couple,
defense.
Give me a couple seconds.
Okay.
I don't think so. It's so
Really?
my pitch for it is because the Runic Capacitor gives us so much more time in the building up of the Frozen Core before it's no longer doing anything for us. But also, one of the things we're really going to want to find now is just Evoke. Is just any source of Evoke, and then we will just constantly be able to generate extra Frost Orbs. Like,
I'm super down with this Frozen Core, to be clear. I'm looking at this Empty Cage, and I'm like, we have a Turbo Plus in this deck. We've got a Seek in this deck. We've got already very, very good Frost Orb generation with double Glacier. All we want is to get to those cards faster, and we're behind on removals. Kill 2 defends and move on. But I think both of these are potentially winning paths. This is new Teak, okay? Look, I want you to appreciate for a minute that this revolution has happened in the last 2 weeks, where I'm thinking about this.
I really appreciate it, which is why I hate to dissuade you. If it wasn't for the Runic Capacitor, I would actually say that I think we fill our orb slots too quickly to utilize the Frozen Core well.
Yeah.
But we do have the Runic
What about the effect of Storm Plus? How does Storm Plus interact with this Frozen Core?
Stormblast means that while we're playing our powers, we're going to be defending ourselves because we're going to be
Okay.
evoking frost orbs.
Okay. Hit it.
Cool.
I'm in.
All right, and we'll be in the next act in the next video. Linked in the description down below. That's the best segue I get. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves, and we'll see you in the video.